So now today, Trump's ambassador to Israel says that there's no need to wait to take possession of the land, as it was written in an article in Breaking Israel News this morning. It's kind of funny because, you know, the solution was to ratify the Rome Statute Covenant, and I just wanted to look up the definition of ratify, and I just kind of was shocked when the word confirm was listed. So it means to confirm a covenant. So let's say they ratified that covenant to keep from having any action taken against them to avoid the International War Crimes probe that is being done by The Hague. Well, they could ratify that for 7 years, and then somehow it is broken in the middle before the 7 years comes to fruition. With, let's say, 3.5 years into it, they could say, you know, enough's enough, break the covenant in the middle, and then take action against these settlements in Judea and Samaria and East Jerusalem and the areas that the Palestinian Authority are going to get for their Palestinian state, according to the peace deal of the century of Donald Trump. And if they did take that way out to ratify that for 7 years, that would prevent any Israelis from being arrested or any action being taken against them if their accusers are the Palestinian Authority. Donald Trump's peace deal of the century called for a freeze to all settlements, but apparently that, according to this article, it doesn't apply to the current settlements. I'll just read a little bit of that article. It says the plan recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital while safeguarding Israel's security and taking its legal and historical claims into account. It also recognizes a demilitarized Palestinian state with its capital in eastern Jerusalem, located in all areas east and north of the existing security barrier. Now they say that no Israelis or Palestinians would be uprooted from their homes according to the plan, and a point U.S. President Donald Trump vocally emphasized in presenting the blueprint. But you have this other group that is against the settlements with the International Criminal Court. But it's interesting that this other article also appeared today. Israel's reaction to Trump deal mirrors the book of Ezra right before temple construction, Yehuda Glick says. And they're, of course, quoting from Ezra 3:13. It says, Rabbi Yehuda Glick, founder of the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation, reacted to U.S. President Donald Trump's deal of the century, comparing the mixed reactions of the nation of Israel to that of the Jewish people during the days of the prophet Ezra. The Jerusalem-based rabbi focused on one passage in the book which took place immediately following the laying of the foundation of the Second Temple. Glick began his video address by expressing his gratitude to the U.S. President, who recognizes the right of the Jewish people to implement the Israeli law on the Jewish settlements and all over Judea and Samaria. Glick didn't forget to thank God as well, adding that Wednesday was another one of those days that you see the hands of the Lord guiding history and pulling the strings. Glick then lauded Trump's speech, which recognized Jerusalem as Israel's united capital, adding that it definitely demands us to bless him. The rabbi then addressed concerns regarding the deal of the century, saying, I know that some of you and some of us, and me myself, are disturbed by different parts that are not yet completed. He reminded his audience how those same mixed reactions happened, right as the Jewish people bore witness to the laying of the foundation of the Second Temple by reading from the book of Ezra, which states, "Many of the Kohanim and Leviim and the chiefs of the clans, the old men who had seen the first house, wept loudly at the sight of the founding of the house. Many others shouted joyously at the top of their voices. The people could not distinguish the shouts of joy from the people's weeping, for the people raised a great shout, the sound of which could be heard from afar." Maybe we'll hear the shout of the Lord and the trump of God. Glick went on to explain that just as some wept loudly, while at the same time others yelled shouts of joy, the nation couldn't tell the difference between the voices of the shouting of happiness and the voices of the nation crying. The rabbi who survived a 2014 assassination attempt reiterated that we are in the process. Yes, we are in the process of redemption. And in the process of redemption, as we study in Psalm 126, which states, "Our mouths shall be filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Then shall they say among the nations, Hashem has done great things for them." There are tears and there's joy, but every single step in the process demands us to thank God for that step, Glick added. Glick summarized his message by reading from the book of Haggai, who followed with prophecy these days of the building of the temple in the time of Cyrus. And Haggai, Hashem's messenger, fulfilling Hashem's mission, spoke to the people, "I am with you," declares Hashem. Haggai 1:13. The rabbi concluded the address by reminding his audience that we are in the process of redemption, saying, "We are sure that the redemption process that we are witnessing today will continue." He then expressed gratitudes towards Trump and Netanyahu, saying, "And yes, we are praising God for the cooperation between the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the President of the United States, Donald Trump." So all of us that are saying that the appearing of the Lord is at hand at some point, we don't know when exactly, is verified by rabbis saying that we are in the redemption process. And they're in the redemption process in Israel. And we're part of that. So this just proves even more how close we are to the Lord's arrival. Now, they're expressing that this is how it was exactly right before the temple was built. And we know that, Donald Trump's face is on the coins that they minted with the Sanhedrin. So you have different aspects of things coming together to work together to bring forth that 7-year covenant. And I truly believe that that covenant of the Rome Statute Covenant, if it was ratified or confirmed for 7 years, and if they could take action against the Israelis in those settlement areas, if that ever happened, that could be really, really bad. And that would be part of Matthew 24, "Let all who are in Judea flee, to the mountains, and get out of there. Don't go back into your homes to take anything with you. Depart, for your own safety's sake." Of course, these are all just verifications of how close we are. And, just having the rabbis say that we are in the process of the redemption means that we're right there at the door of eternity with the Lord coming to rapture his believers to be with him where he is. And though the Palestinian Authority will have jurisdiction over some of the territory, the majority of the territory in Judea and Samaria, and the Palestinian Authority is part of the International Criminal Court, you could see how they would use that and have tried to use it against the Israelis, because the International Criminal Court is saying within 90 days they plan on making arrests of Israeli officials and those in settlement areas. And that would be exactly at the time of Passover, the Passover season at least. And of course the United States and President Trump would be against the International Criminal Court, and so is Israel against them. They don't have any jurisdiction over anybody. So it'll be interesting, you know, to see how all of that comes together. I definitely believe that that's part of it. We just pray for God's protection over God's people and his holy land that he's chosen, and Jerusalem, where he said he would put his name forever, and it is there. The third temple is very close to being. Rabbi Glick's words tell you that the laying of the foundation stone for the third temple is right at the door. And it is possible too that the Jerusalem covenant that goes back to when they came back from the Babylonian captivity in Daniel's day, that covenant is the Jerusalem covenant, and they could do something with that for 7 years as well. Because Jerusalem is the whole prize of the Islamic world that they want to capture as their capital. But it really belongs to the Lord. So just reporting a few new things that came out today in the Breaking Israel News articles. And plus what I showed you yesterday in my video about the Rome Statute Covenant, that they could confirm for a 7-year span of time, and then that would give them time to not have any actions taken against them. But if it was broken in the middle and they took action against them, that could be great tribulation. Stay tuned, and thank you for supporting this channel. God bless.